Okay, well, hey, my name is Chris Sutton, and I'm here at the Amazingly Haunted Farrar Schoolhouse. And this has been a really cool experience. But you know what else is a really cool experience? Listening and watching Ghost Talk, because that's a cool freaking channel. The guy Aaron is a cool freaking guy, so watch it!
Yes!
Hello, people of the internet! Welcome to Ghost Talk, the most active paranormal show on YouTube. Hello, I'm your host, Aaron G. Thompson, and with me today I have a very special guest by the name of Lindsay Doyle. Hola, hello. So Lindsay is pretty much a rock star for doing the show with me today. And you know, at the end of the show, you can really see how you can continue to follow Lindsay. She's a pretty awesome person. But ultimately, I think you guys want to know what's up with Ghost. Alton Towers. Ghosts caught on camera by terrified woman who believes Spectre cursed the theme park. Now, Lindsay, so there's this alleged cursing of this theme park in the UK. The last, week or so, it's been put around a few different news venues that I wanted to share the story. What are your thoughts on this photo? And everyone at home right now, you see the photo, or boom, now you see the photo. This is what we're talking about. Discuss.
Thanks, Aaron. So originally when I looked at this photograph online, the first photo you see has the circle around the supposed woman, right. With the cloth veil.
Like a monk-looking shape or something,
right? To be honest, I didn't see this woman. What I saw in these photographs was it looked like a lot of other lighting was going on. Maybe other people were taking photographs at the same time. This was at nighttime, the tour. Right. If you read the article, it was at night. Okay. So, you have other people taking photographs with their cameras, which, is going to have the flash going off. Right. And if you look at these photographs, you can see at the bottom of the photos, there's little speckles going on. Off to, as you're looking at the photo to the right, there's an extremely bright yellow, almost neon color going on here. And so to me, that just says, okay, so there's like I said before, a lot of this flash going on, a lot of other photos being taken. So there's that side of it where, you say to someone, hey, do you see this? You don't see it at first, and then you kind of start to see it. So when I looked at the picture, scrolling down through the article, without the circle around the figure, I actually kind of saw two additional figures in that photograph, one to each side. So, if you want to say there's this beggar woman that's haunting this place, and that's the photograph of her, right. Well, then who are these other two figures that are in the photo? So to me, just looking at what we have from the article,
you found three ghosts.
Right, we found three ghosts. Just from looking at that, I would have to say reflections, maybe the exposure, something maybe with the photo card or something like that. That would be my personal opinion.
The news venues really jumped on this, and of course all the people that she showed the photo to jumped on board with, oh yeah, I see this ghost, I see this specter, I see this spirit, this demon, whatever you want to call it. The UK community, very much more open than the US, the United States of America, with the acceptance of the paranormal in regards to ghosts and spirit energies. So do you think with their culture, do you think that maybe influence the want and the drive to say, yeah, I see that? Do you think that had an effect with a lot of the folks there? Or
oh yeah, I'm sure it did. The whole point of this tour that this woman was on, along with her, fellow tourists was it's a haunted tour. It's that's the
old castle,
the whole point of it. You know, it's like if you go to the Harry Potter amusement park and you're like, oh, I swear I saw Daniel Radcliffe. Yes, you did, but it wasn't really him.
Harry Potter.
You know, well, maybe it was. I don't know.
That's
But yeah, I mean, the article says that at the end of the tour, they went back and they were having tea, you know,
Right.
and other people are going over each other's photographs. So yeah, I think definitely the want is there,
right, of
but
course.
also kind of just like the hype, you know, you just got done with it. So yeah, the hype is there too, even if you're just kind of joking around.
Right, and with this being such an old structure, the cursing of the supposed specter, the supposed spirit, was back in 1821.
Right.
There was a stagecoach incident. The old beggar in the middle of the road. Stagecoach was in a hurry. Said, you know, hey, get out of my way, beggar lady. I'm sure that's how it happened.
That's exactly how it went. Add that accent,
everything.
though, to it, but yes.
Beggar lady. I'm sorry. Sorry, UK guys. But the curse happened after he just kept plummeting into her. So he killed her, assumably on the road. So yeah, it was tragic. I mean, there could be some residual or even some intelligent energy that lingers around there. The idea that it's cursed, though, let's say it was 100%, it's a spirit. It's a demon. It's an energy that's past. If that was it, do you believe that it could potentially be cursed? Do you believe in curses, or maybe in another scenario, or it could be?
Well, I 100% believe in curses.
Okay.
Not just only on places, but also on persons.
Right.
And not just on one person, but on a person's lineage.
Okay. Like a group and a family and...
Right, yeah. I definitely believe in that. What I'd like to do is just maybe look a little bit more into this story.
Right.
You know, get more of the history, find out a little bit more
of the castle and
of the castle,
the family member.
Yes, not just the castle and where this incident took place, but a little bit more information about who this woman was.
Okay.
You know, because yeah, maybe she was a beggar woman out in the street,
Right.
is what is the general story that we're getting, but maybe there was something a little bit more there to that. Maybe there's something more to her family.
Right.
And that could lead into more of that
True.
demonic possession,
Right,
the
right.
haunting, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Because, you have to remember also, it was 1821, so this is before, the turn of the century.
For Google.
Right, definitely.
YouTube.
Right. But different, and in different cultures too, different practices were going on.
Right.
So, yeah, it would be nice to get a little bit more background information on that.
And I think it'll be tough with the beggar in question because, I mean, if she was homeless, if she was just a nomad, walking around, there might not be much paperwork on that.
Right.
There might be, though.
Right.
I mean, they might be able to tie something together. With of course, my view of the photo, there's something, I think it's a word that's being used a lot more in the paranormal world, Lindsay. It's called pareidolia.
Okay.
Pareidolia is the appropriate pronunciation. However, you hear it called so many other things. It's a weird word. It's tough. Anywho.
I'm not going to try it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Parapsychology has really given us the, the tool or that word to describe what we as people hear. Or not necessarily hear, excuse me. Hear, see, taste, smell, familiarity.
Right.
So we're looking at, say, a cloud, and we see Abraham Lincoln's face. We're looking at a piece of toast, and we're seeing Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know, it's one of those moments where we're using our brain and our mind to fill in the blanks because it's so much easier for us to recognize human faces.
Right.
Kind of like the man on the moon.
Exactly.
You look at it, there's a face, and you could somewhat see it. The Native Americans are actually said in Scripture that when the pilgrims were landing on the shores, they were in structures that were never in the imagination of these natives, you know, from this land. So they didn't know, the Native Americans did not know that these ships were landing until they landed, because their brain wouldn't comprehend the shape, the sizes, the sounds, and really just everything all at once. Now, it might not have been as close of landing on the shore and then, oh, hey, there's someone here. It might have, you know, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration from that scripture, but the reality is it was told that they didn't know, you know, that anything was there until it was there. So when you get the group of people and you're showing them this picture and you're circling it, you know, saying, hey, here's where I see the specter, here's where I see the ghost, the spirit. People may see that.
Right.
They might. A lot of things that folks don't know that do investigations or that don't do investigations and really want to catch something paranormal, well, that's exciting. There's a lot of chips, a lot of mechanics that go into our tools, including the phones, you know, the smartphones here. It has so many chips to identify when to focus, when to not focus. Is there going to be a glare? To me, if you look at that photo, it has sharp edges to it. If you really see the image that they're trying to focus on, and I see what you mean with some of the side imagery, it looks like a reflection a little bit. It does look sharp. From my experience, that doesn't, that's not consistent to a photograph that potentially caught some past energy. It would be a little more jagged or a little more, it wouldn't be as clean.
Right.
You know,
Be a little more blurred.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely faded, but yeah, it'll be a little more distortion to it, I think. So, not to say 100% that, you know, that there's not something there, because it's an old, you know, it's definitely an old structure. I'm sure there's some lingering energies that are still, you know, at the theme park, and it's cool. It is cool that she captures something that kind of sparked imagination in a lot of folks.
Right.
You know, that's neat. With the cursing, of course, yeah, I absolutely believe that curses are a thing or a form of energy. As an example, we'll use witchcraft. You know, that seems to be common enough. So witchcraft, there's a union, there's a community, a sisterhood, a brotherhood in some cases as well, with that practice. So down the generations and generations, mind you, not the same people, but the same, you know, types of people, types of communities are researching the same stuff, researching on the same holy land, the same ground that all these past energies were. So let's say that the cursed, you know, individual or curses or spells that could be crafted are just vibrations. They're just energy from previous members, from previous, you know, sisterhood, brotherhood. That's just really supporting the cause still, continuing to do that, past druids or whatever the case may be, to really keep the magic alive. So in that essence, the magic is real, at least in the form of what's trying to be conveyed. But I think there's a lot more, I feel there's a lot more science to it. I feel there's a lot of in sync energy. I believe Disney calls that synergy. Thank you, Disney, for that. So any other thoughts regarding this photo? I mean, it's a cool photo. Again, I don't think it's, I'm just a guy on the internet. What do I know? But I don't think it's a ghost or spirit.
I feel the same way, Aaron. That's my opinion too. And the primary reason for that is just like I said, when I first saw the photograph, if you look at the main article, the second photograph, when you scroll down where there's no circle, you can really see all the other elements that are in that photograph. The probably where all the flash was going on, the brightness off to the right of the photograph, there's speckles on the ground, so that's just my biggest thing. And I'm not at all trying to say somebody took a photograph and is trying to manipulate
I don't think it's
it.
Photoshop
No,
by any
I don't
means.
think, I don't think anything like that. So I don't want that to be what's taken from my words.
The internet knows it now. You're done.
No, I know.
Busted.
Oh man, I'm roasted. Man.
You're roasted. That's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I do think it's great that these folks, they all went on this tour together, and I know in the article it said that she's gonna go back.
Yeah.
And, again, and that's great. That's awesome. You're a believer, great. You want to keep going, awesome. And next time, maybe you'll get something else.
Right.
Yeah. You never know. So that that's my opinion on that too. Again, opinion.
What? That's the fact, girl. Speaking of the facts, staff serving the disabled blame paranormal activity for sometimes fatal abuse. All right, so Lindsay, this is a disturbing story because it's in our culture to not take ownership. I think plenty of us, humans, maybe non-humans, don't have any ownership anymore. We play victim so often that when something tragic like this happens, we just want to, in my opinion, we want to throw the blame on something else. And who can't defend themselves? The dead, for the most part, respectively. We're still working on EVPs and other communication things, but as of right now,
there's probably some lawyer out there.
Abraham Lincoln might be. Yeah, he might be on. Yeah. Okay. So, what's your? I mean, you've of course read the articles. You've got some of the information. Yes. Not to say that something evil can happen or can hurt you, because we know that any form of energy, and I'll get into more detail on that later, can hurt, can injure, can even kill in some cases, in some stories. So I believe that there can be something to this, but there's a few things that don't add up to me. But I don't want to take away, from any of your thoughts. Kind of tell me what was going on in your head when you were reading this story.
So I had a few different things pop into my head as I was going through this article, and in the article it does say some of the words that were documented that were found on persons' bodies, right. Like hi and bye and get out, I'm back.
I think there's kill.
Yeah.
Number J or no J.
No J. Yeah. No J. So I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking, whoever chose these words you're being silly. You're being silly. And to me, if this was happening, and you want to call it it was happening from a paranormal aspect, right. The words would probably be a little bit more precise. I was just looking at that, unless, right. And I'm not saying that there's not sarcastic spirits out there. If I ever come back, no.
Well, the facts of the area here. The incident happened in Pueblo, Colorado. And they had ongoings, since April of 2015, or excuse me, I think it was August 2015, yes. All the way up to April of 2016, so recent. Here's the kicker. Sure, a spirit, or at this point we'll say a poltergeist, can make, it's common that these symbols or or even ghost writing or something like that can happen. Can it happen as precise and as accurate as these skin markings? These burns were big. The words were clear. It's not an MO of of someone who passed to do this. Even if it was, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say it was. Let's say this whole thing was Freddy Krueger type, scenario. The only individuals to really pass away in this building or in this mental health institution is the mentally and disabled. It's physically and mentally distraught and really unaware individuals to be that consistent. It does not make sense. Right. But it's so easy again to say, well, it's a maid. It's clearly a ghost spirit. So I think it's just terrible negligence on the staff. They've already fired 8 members of that facility. I believe 8 more, at least as of right now, disciplined, or they took a suspension. I think at one point they did a body search, and that's what caused them to figure out all of these symbols and these words. There was a strip search, which actually kind of sparked people's interest too, because why are you doing a strip search, without the proper authority, or at least paperwork? Yeah, I'm sure they're still humans, and it's sad. It's sad that that individuals at a facility that's supposed to care for these people, families trust them, that they abuse them like they do, and they can get away with it. They got away for so long, and who to say they didn't get away with it, years prior? Right. So, I mean, it's not paranormal. It doesn't scream ghost. It doesn't scream poltergeist. I've read some and been a part of some interesting poltergeist scenarios. Again, it's not it's just humans passing the blame because they did something terrible. But yeah, I mean, what do you want to add, to this, if anything?
Right. In the article, it does say that one staff member at least had said something to a relative who wasn't under that disclosure agreement.
Yeah, there's like an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so none of them can really speak, but yeah, you're right.
But one of their relatives said something, because he said, well, I'm not under that NDA. And I guess there was something about, one of the staff members had said, yes, I did do this to one of the personnel living here to scare another staff member. Right. And so, I mean, I know alleged. Right. I know that's, he said, she said. Right. And you look at it, and like I said before, it's childish. It's the fact of the matter is, this is a really horrible thing that has happened. Right. Because the people that are working at this facility, like you had already said, are there to care for these other human beings, living creatures, just like you and me, and we all are.
They signed the application. They went forward with whatever the job entails.
Right. And you're acting like a child. You're obviously not doing your job. Period. And in the end, I don't care who you're trying to screw with, who you're trying to joke around with. You need to take a step back and look at yourself and think, oh my God, how old am I? This is my job. I'm not in high school anymore. And just, I'm taking care of an actual person here. Do I want this to happen to me? Would I want this to happen to my mother, sister, brother, child, anyone like that?
And you're right. It started off as a prank, or I think that was the word that I saw in the article. Where they carved, and by the way, guys, you probably don't see the pictures there. The links are below. You can check out the stories. It's not cool. But yeah, I guess it started off as a prank, and it just escalated from there. I guess the prank either wasn't received appropriately, or they just want to continue doing because they got away with it for the first time. So, yeah. Again, if this was a poltergeist, because that's really by definition, all it could be, a violent, evil poltergeist, there would be more than just these poor people that can't speak for themselves, can't react, and maybe agree that it was something paranormal because they don't know any better. Everyone would know if it's something to this nature. The staff members would get more reaction from vibrations, and all sorts of other feelings will come up if it was something really negative and really consistent as it has been. It's not like it's being hidden. I mean, all these people had marks on them, and I believe they're burn marks. For some reason, they reminded me of that. What's that new tattoo?
Called branding.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to mention that too, because in my mind, if a poltergeist is going to be attacking you, it's not going to look perfectly. I mean, branding and scarification.
I mean, more blood of a poltergeist.
Right. It's like you had said before. It's like if you look at it, the pictures I saw, and again, they might have just been pictures that were put into the article by whoever wrote it. I don't know,
yeah.
But just my opinion again. But if it's gonna be a poltergeist coming out, going Freddy Krueger style on you, because the claim was that it was done with nails. That's what the claim was. It
that's
like
right.
nail
It was.
marks,
Yeah. Wasn't nail marks.
Right. Exactly.
Totally not nail marks. At least the pictures that we saw, and you're right. Now I'm
Right.
questioning the pictures, if they were actual pictures or just someone that put up some stuff.
Right. So.
I feel there.
Right. Now, but I did want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
I know that in the article, it said that they had to basically, the people that were in the home, they basically had to take their clothing off of them, which we already, talked about that,
Right.
to see these words. And I believe the article says it was like on their backs. Now, to me, if you got a ticked off poltergeist going AS on people, it's not going to be on their back. We're talking face, we're talking arms, we're talking everywhere. But if you think about looking at abuse cases, when you have areas that you get naturally, where you're going to have things happen.
Right.
Turning somebody over, you might hurt their arm, get a little bruise on their arm, but on their back, it's like, come on now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so guys, that's all we have to say about that. However, I do want to jump straight into questions. And guys, if you want your questions to be featured on the show here, the Ghost Talk crew, Ghost Crier crew, would love to answer these questions that you have regarding paranormal, or what the heck, regarding us. I like a good personal question every now and then. So please send them to ghosttalk@ghostcrier.com. Again, the link's in the description, or the email link is. So yeah, send in your questions. The first and really only question segment that we have today is Karen from Twitter. She had quite a few good questions, and I felt, instead of separating them from different segments and going, hey, you always choose Karen, she's always on there, I decided, what the heck, let me go ahead and get this done. So Karen from Twitter asks, why do ghosts stay here after they die? Where are their spirit guides to help them to go to the loving light? Great question. Awesome question, actually, Karen. Thank you, by the way, Karen, for writing in. I totally appreciate it. Lindsay appreciates it. We all here at Ghost Crier and Ghost Talk do appreciate the questions. So, guys, definitely follow suit with Karen and get those questions into us. So, Karen, awesome question. I'll go ahead and kind of start off, and then I'll pass it over to Lindsay. We'll talk a little bit about this. So, why do ghosts stay here after they die? Of course, you're going to find theories everywhere, of why they do. Of course, there's some common ones. Unfinished business, that gets passed around quite a bit. With me being, shock, throw suspense music, me being an atheist and a ghost hunter, what? That's crazy. Someone said, you must be agnostic then because you believe in ghosts. I'm like, still believe in science. I will prove this I will prove this. So, on my quest to prove this, let me share a theory with you. Why do ghosts stay here after they die? Well, I believe that once we pass away, since we, expel from our physical body and now we're in this new mode of energy, we're working really with frequencies at this point. So what frequency do you really fit in? Some people might call it dimensions. And again, this is all, words and brain thoughts out of me. Am I right? Probably. So I don't believe it's not like they're staying here in some cases. They are here. Once they pass for whatever frequency they hit, they're bleeding back into our frequency a bit with their energy level. They may be confused as well, because as we know throughout our life, I feel our brain, as parapsychology absolutely will agree with me, our brain is very powerful. Example, a mother, we hear the stories of a mother having a child under a trapped vehicle or something heavy, and all of a sudden she gets this great strength, lifts whatever that is off of her child. That wasn't because she, had a protein bar just before that incident. It might over matter. Excuse me. So the mind is very powerful. When you develop, let's say, your soul or that energy inside of you, it molds to your organs. It molds to your body and who you're going to be. We're talking genetics of who your parents were. That really created, what we got up here in the brain. So if that's treated ill in your life, then this is probably morbid. And again, honestly, I said I'm probably right with this, but it's up for interpretation. It's my thoughts. So if you treat your head badly, and we're talking suicide, drug abuse of any sort, consistently, that now gives you an alternate reality of our actual reality as a human, that can affect a scenario. And that can create someone passing in that scenario to be consistently in a consciousness that serves when they were alive, because now, mind you, they don't have an organ to develop that brain and that energy anymore. So they're kind of where they're at. It's like the cases that you get in old like penitentiaries. You still run into people that think they're in prison, because who can tell them otherwise? I mean, you might be able to say, no, you're free, but at this point, they've so many years put in their head that they remember that, no, they're a prisoner, passed away, prisoner. Maybe if you have a little bit of open-mindedness before you pass, you might be in a safe scenario. Again, guys, I'm still alive, just trying to make sense of this world. And that's why I think they stay around. So I don't think, they choose, or it's an unfinished business. I think they just are, and it's however their mind adapts them. And if they do build a community that allows them to have a larger cause, a savior, a higher creator of some sort, then that reality is fact, and no one can take that away, because it's, once again, mind over matter. It's in the head, and that's not wrong, because there's, again, shared frequencies, shared dimensions. You could run into that community. Just kind of my thought. I'll address the second half after I close my mouth and let Lindsay kind of say her piece.
Thanks, Aaron.
Hey.
Okay, so I just want to go ahead and say that I actually am a Army chaplain's assistant, and I do come from a Christian background. I was raised United Methodist, and so I was, raised to think that, oh, hey, when you die, you're either going to go to one of two places, heaven or hell. And as you get a little bit older, you might get lucky to hear purgatory in there somewhere, and possibly paradise.
7 layers.
That's right, So I wanna address the question of the spirits staying around, but also being guided to the loving light.
Right.
I know that's jumping into the next question,
no, that's fine.
too.
Kind of the same.
Right. So if you are coming from a Christian background and you're watching this, then and if you've gone through any kind of theology studies or anything like that, then you will know that it's not so cut and dry that, oh yeah, you die, you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. Technically, according to the Bible, when you pass, your spirit will not be going to one of two places right away. It's going to be set to either wait in purgatory or paradise until the second coming of Christ. So that's one thing to look at. And mind you, right now my beliefs are my own, and I'm not saying I'm Christian. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm saying I believe what I believe,
right?
And everyone has the right to do that,
and that's not wrong. Right.
I just wanted to share what my background was from. Okay, so moving on into those directions. So I also, if you want to take from the Christian aspect, now establishing that you're either in paradise or purgatory, I believe that when looking at that sense, when I talked to my soldiers who are Christian and are concerned about someone who has passed or their own passing, I do like to say to them, okay, so listen, it's like you're in a waiting room. Okay? So you're not condemned to hell when you're in purgatory, and you're not guaranteed heaven when you're in paradise. Your soul is still your soul, and different things can happen with it. If you are, as you were saying, if you had a good mental clarity in your life that you just had,
biggest thing,
right? Then, and you're clear on your beliefs, you're clear on your understanding of the deeds that you did, and that's, and you say, okay, if I was bad, man, I'm gonna go to hell. Well, and guess where your soul's gonna think that it's gonna be going? It's going to be going to hell. The same thing with if you're a good boy or girl, heaven.
Guilty.
So now, like I said, that is what I would say to someone who is a Christian, and that is their beliefs. Now, on a more personal level for myself, and again, my opinions, my personal experiences, I also believe in the multiple dimensions.
Oh, okay.
And I don't believe that only applies to people whose physical body has passed. And I will say that because there are times when I find myself in a different dimension and wondering who I am. Okay. And I will look in the mirror and I will say to myself, who are you?
There's been stories that I've been reading more and more lately that people are coming out and kind of saying that scenario.
Right. This has been happening to me since I was a child.
Wow.
Since I was a small child.
Right.
And if I could convince my mother to come on here, she would tell you the same thing, that I would go up to her and I would just be like, I know you, but I'm looking in the mirror, I don't know who I am. And so to me, that's one of those questions that I'd like to know a little bit more about. But also when I find myself coming to that state, I kind of talk myself down, and then I say, well, where have I been for the past 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours? And so in my mind, that says, well, possibly you were on a different dimension or different plane. You're still here. Right. But just in a different slice.
Now, let me ask kind of a question, and this is the psychologist should say in me. No degree, by the way. So, so it gives you kind of some context. I know nothing, but let me ask a really important question. Do you think that there's a possibility, for whatever reason, you just became unconscious for an extended amount of time, maybe through an allergic reaction you had from an odor? Again, I'm not a botanist.
Phlebotomist.
Phlebotomist, all right. Not that either.
That's a good question. Now, I did, let's see, it was about 13 years ago. Okay. I did have an incident like this, and I happened to actually be on orders in Louisiana.
Okay.
And I went to the hospital, and I actually, I had the CAT scan, everything done that you could see. They hooked the little, they had to shave part of my head, put the little things on it to see if there was anything going on there. And there was nothing wrong.
Okay.
So physically with my brain, as far as like passing out,
scientifically,
things like that, there was nothing wrong.
Okay.
So, so I did want to mention, that because you had said things about the spirit going to different, or being on different dimensions.
Yeah.
Like we don't really go, we're here, but we're in a different here.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that because I believe the same thing for those who have passed and those who are present. And I also want to say this because I haven't only experienced it with my life, but I have 2 children, and I will say that. They're young children, almost 3 and almost 6. And my oldest child, I have always said, since the day he was born, he had to have been an 80-year-old man trapped inside a baby's body. This child has told me things from history, from all different realms that he should not know one single thing about yet.
Reincarnation
scenario. And I told my mother this, and she said, you did the same thing when you were a child. She goes, you would tell me, because my mom was a big history buff,
right.
But she wasn't like preaching it to me as a small child or anything like that. It was more, when she had her downtime from being a mom and from working, she'd go and read. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, I got into these books too. I was telling her these things when I was 4 and 5 years old about parts of history and about lives that I had known and names. And it was interesting because right now, of course, I cannot recall, but I had told her about like basically a family lineage, and my mother was very into lineage and family trees, and she sought out these names, and they were true. And again, this is when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
So, so on that note, I believe your spirit isn't just gone from here.
No, there's more. I believe the body is really just here to do the job to continue what we're ultimately going to go to, and we're just stuck in this unknown funk. So one thing, we're scared, so we have to create a comfortable community around us and grow with that, and that's okay. The other thing is, a lot of logical folks out there, state that we just, after death, done, nothing else there. I'm okay with that, be honest with you. It doesn't make me sad if that would be fact, because I wouldn't care if that happens. All up to the point I'd be like, I'm good, oof, and I'm done. I won't complain about it. So if that is, sure. But everything that I've seen and everything, that I've researched and studied tells me that that's far, far from the truth. There's actually 3 different kind of hauntings. A lot of folks aren't aware of 3 different hauntings. They're like, Aaron, what do you mean 3 different hauntings?
You're going to tell us.
Audience, prepare to grab your popcorn. Back in 1960, no, I'm not throwing out dates. That would be cool. I should just say it. Back in 1963. Then a couple years later. Residual haunting. I think a lot of, folks out there that are enthusiasts understand what residual is. It's that dormant energy that's really just on repeat. They live in hauntings, playbacks from the past. So there's no interaction with a residual haunting. You walk into an area, you hear an old big band or an old record player playing. It's not interacting with you. It's just that loose energy that's still circulating in the area from whatever, brought that back up. And then there's intelligent hauntings, which do have those spirit and poltergeist activity. And those are spirits that can, or, energy that can interact with you. Either verbally, physically, they can interact with you. Well, there's a third kind. There's another kind other than residual, and intelligent, and it's called a warp haunting. So a warp haunting is when, as an example, I am in an old cabin. The old cabin was made in 1843, we'll say. It has all new furnishings, respectively, at least a refrigerator. So I wake up in the middle of the night. I go to the refrigerator to get a Mountain Dew, I'll say. Delicious. So when I walk into the living or the kitchen to get said Mountain Dew, the entire room looks as it was in the 1863, back when it's originally there. And on top of that, you're now looking at a family in front of you that wasn't there, dressed in period garments and clothing, looking at you as you're a ghost. Kind of doubles back to the whole dimension thing.
Right.
And then, shortly after that, your eyes moray and everything's gone, everything's back to normal. You see a refrigerator. It's the rarest form of haunting. Don't think you run into that often. It's only reported, I think, like once a decade if someone does or not. I have not ran into that style of haunting, but I think there's some substance to it, especially from what we've been around. That's it's the 3 hauntings, guys. We kind of went on a tangent there.
Went down the rabbit hole.
I liked it.
I liked it too.
It was fun. I think we went so far down this rabbit hole, guys, where Karen, stay tuned for next episode. Or I'm not thinking of labeling these episodes. Next Ghost Talk show, because you have some questions that we want to get to, but I know we're running pretty close on some time, so I don't think we want to do a 2-hour upload. This is a fun conversation. Before, of course, we vanish, we demanifest. Please, Lindsay, how can I find you? How can I follow her? Are you doing anything cool? Clearly you are. If you can share, please.
Well, Aaron and audience, about the only social media that I currently have, because I am quite busy with my family and my job, is I do have an Instagram account. That's veganlins85, and we'll have that below for you.
No, we won't.
Oh, yes, we will.
Oh, S-A-R.
He told me we were going to. We're going to have it below. Also, I am always up for people to ask me questions and give, again, my opinion, my experiences and things like that. So I'll go ahead and share my email below too.
She needs new running shoes, by the way,
I
guys.
also need
too.
new running shoes. So
that's a thing.
Yeah.
So guys, she was an awesome guest, and of course, my name is Aaron G. Thompson. You can follow me on social media /GCPI. Aaron, that stands for Ghost Crier Paranormal Investigations. Aaron I'm on the Twitter, I'm on the Snapchat, I'm on Instagram, even the Twitch.tv. Don't really Twitch stream too much, but
he's on everything.
On everything.
Everything.
And of course, you can follow Ghost Crier on a lot of stuff too, as well as patreon.com/Ghost Crier. Please, guys, if you really like the concept of this show and you want to support me as my journey making this profession, a career in ghost hunting, that's weird, but I think I'm on the right track. So if you think I am too, donate $1 if you can, or if you can't donate anything, share with your friends. Always like, comment, all that fun stuff. I like to keep the conversation down below. You've guys been awesome. So at this point, I want to say, Lindsay, Ghost Achievement unlocked. Right? That's cool. I think that's my favorite.
Your brain must be on fire. Raise your spirit to the Ghost Crier. Slam the door. You're shaking, scared. Live your life with so much fear. Wipe your eyes, hide your tears. Stop. Let me make this clear. This about you and me. No blind mutiny. Only para-unity. Together we will see. Peace. Check the other vids. Go. GhostCrier.com. Magic is only undiscovered science. Ow.
Well, hi guys. Welcome to the show, Ghost Talk. This is Aaron, and I'm talking ghosts with Lindsay Doyle.
Thanks, Aaron. That was great.
This is when I cheer the audience. I should have a laugh track.
Yeah.
Totally doing a laugh track sometime.
Oh, you're right. Oh.
That's okay.
It's okay. It's all good.
All good. Everybody okay?
We're okay. The bunny. It moved.
Not loving